Microsoft, and they already have Office up
It's
and
so
running
weird to
native
hear them
on our new
saying our
Macs.
friends at
Let's
Microsoft
take a look
because
at
they're
Word.
competitors.
It runs great. Scrolling is super
We're
smooth.
having so much fun, by the way, if you
Everything
haven't
you do
realized.
is just super responsive. Next, let's check out Excel. Just as you'd
The
expect,
music again
complex
coming in to
sheets
make it
and
more
elements
exciting.
like this map
It's so subtle, but it's
all
such an important
update
change
instantly.
because it
And
breaks
next,
up
let's take a look
the
at
presentation.
PowerPoint. It's using Metal for rendering, and it performs great. For instance, check out how I can see all the layers of my slide in 3D. The animation is perfectly fluid. Now, we've also been working closely with our friends at Adobe to bring Creative Cloud
Friends
to our
as
new
Adobe
Macs.
also,
Here's Lightroom running
they're not really
native on
friends.
Apple Silicon. Navigating
Because
large
they were friends
libraries
originally,
of
but they were
DNG
erased off
images
the
super
Photoshop, but
fast,
now they're
and all of Lightroom's editing
they have a
controls
very
are
weird
available right
relationship.
here. Let's apply an adjustment to this image. Well, that's much better, and we can apply that same edit to all of these images in a single step. Looks great. Next, let me show you the app I know many of you want to see, Photoshop. Here's a 5 gigabyte Photoshop file by photographer Stephen Wilkes. Now, this is a heavy-duty document with lots of layers. Now, let's add one more bird in there. Not totally comfortable with the level of social distancing, but let's keep going. And let's check out how smooth the animation is as I zoom out. Wow, beautiful. Finally, let's turn to one of our most sophisticated apps, Final Cut Pro. Here it is running on Apple Silicon for the first time.
By the way,
Let's
we're
play back
active
some
on
4K
chat if you have
video.
any questions
As you
or
can
if you
see,
have any
playback is super
comments
smooth,
on everything
and
we
all
were
your
just seeing.
filters are here, and you
Feel
can
free
apply
to
them
leave a
in real
comment.
time.
I'll be
Let's
sure
try some
to
color
answer
correction.
if I can.
And I can even add animated titles and lens flare, all during live
Beautiful.
playback. And Final Cut takes advantage of the unique capabilities of the Apple Neural Engine with a new feature that analyzes video and intelligently crops it to keep the most important action in the frame. But that's not all. Final Cut fully exploits the system's multi-core architecture to let us play back not just 1 or 2, but 3 streams of full resolution 4K ProRes,
Wow.
all on an A12Z processor.
That's
Amazing.
crazy.
So that's a first look at Universal Apps on Apple Silicon. We're really excited to see so much great work on native apps. These apps even get more amazing when they're built to take advantage of the Silicon's powerful capabilities, like its incredible CPU and graphics performance, a unified memory architecture, and the Neural Engine, which accelerates advanced machine learning tasks. The transition to Apple Silicon is also great for developers who've already optimized their apps for other Apple platforms. The shared architecture across our products means that their code will absolutely sing on our new Macs. And there's
That's
even more to
amazing.
the story. We're doing some really
Very,
important
very
things to make this
powerful
transition
hardware.
seamless for our users. Now, while we expect most developers will go native immediately, we want to make sure that users can run all of their apps on day one, even if some apps haven't yet been updated. Now, we've been down this road before. When we transitioned from PowerPC to Intel processors, a cornerstone of that transition was Rosetta, a technology that makes it possible to run PowerPC apps on Intel-based Macs. macOS Big Sur will include a new version of Rosetta, Rosetta 2. Rosetta 2 automatically translates your existing Mac apps so they work on new Macs with Apple Silicon.
That's the same functionality
And
they
this
used
time,
to
Rosetta
transition
is
from
even
PowerPC
faster, more
back in the
powerful,
day
and
to
more
the new
compatible.
platform.
It translates the apps when you install them so they can launch immediately and be instantly responsive. And Rosetta 2 can also translate code on the fly when needed, like for web browsers with just-in-time JavaScript
Maybe that
compilers
doesn't
or for
work great.
Java code. It even handles the most complex Pro apps and their plugins. Rosetta 2 is transparent to users, and the performance is amazing. We're also introducing new virtualization technologies in macOS Big Sur. So for developers who want to run other environments like Linux or tools like Docker, we have you
right.
covered. When you put all of these technologies together, Universal, Rosetta, and virtualization, you have a system that can run an amazing diversity of apps.
Hi everyone.
To show you how this all comes together, I'll hand it
Thanks
over
for
to
coming to the
Andreas Venker.
stream.
Thanks, Craig. Let's take a look at some existing apps running under Rosetta. Rosetta, of course, works great with all sorts of apps that you use every day. But for our first demo, I'd like to show you something a bit more challenging. This is Maya, the powerful animation and modeling software running great here on Apple Silicon. I already have a model open that consists of over 6 million polygons, and as you can see, I can fluidly move around in this scene. So let's make it a little more challenging and bring in textures and shaders as well. And still, everything is incredibly fluid. So Rosetta works great, and the performance is simply fantastic. But Rosetta isn't just for apps, it also works amazingly well with games. I can even use a game controller. This is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a high-end AAA game that's using our Metal APIs. I downloaded it directly from the Mac App Store, so it's completely unmodified, and it is absolutely beautiful. Let me jump into the water. You can see some of the lighting effects here.
That's nice.
And as I follow the path, you can see the game is responsive, it's smooth. And the best part is, we are running it at 1080p as a translated app under emulation. So these new Macs, they are fast. You can see some more of the lighting effects here. It's awesome what Rosetta can do with existing games.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
Now,
as
as
long
Craig
as you can
mentioned,
keep
many
the
of our users
compatibility
rely
with
on
the
apps
old
from other
hardware, the better it
environments.
is
So let me bring up
for
a Linux
everyone.
VM and parallel its desktop. You can see the graphical user interface designed for Linux here, but of course, many developers like to use Linux for hosting servers. So let me dive down to the command line and launch an Apache web server. And now, I can simply bring up Safari and browse the website of the server I just launched in the Linux VM. Here it is. Now, I want to show you one more type of app to run on these new Macs that we haven't even told you about yet, and that is iPhone and iPad apps. Since they've been built to run on the same Apple Silicon that we're using in our new Macs, they will run natively, completely unmodified on the new Macs as well. Let me show you a few. This here is one of my favorite games, Monument Valley 2. It's fun to play here on the new Mac. And if I want to catch up on my guitar lessons, I can use Fender Play. Or if I want to relax at the end of the day a little bit, I can bring up the Calm app. And that was just a quick look at Rosetta, virtualization, and support for iPhone and iPad apps, giving users amazing versatility for running apps and other environments with macOS on Apple Silicon. Back to you, Craig.
Thanks, Andreas. As
Amazing
you saw,
transitions
Macs
between
built
the
with Apple
sections, by the way.
Silicon will be able to run iPhone and iPad apps directly. Starting day one, users can download these apps right from the Mac App Store, and most apps will just work with no changes from the developer. With everything we're doing, the range of apps that users will be able to run on these new Macs is truly unprecedented. Together, we have all the technologies in place to make this an amazing transition. The vast majority of Mac apps can be recompiled as universal in a few days, so users can have fast, native apps. Rosetta 2 runs existing Mac apps. Our virtualization technology makes it easier than ever to bring other environments like Linux to the Mac. And Mac users can, for the first time, run iOS and iPadOS apps directly, tapping into the world's most vital app ecosystem. Now, we know our Mac developers will be eager to get started on this new platform. So to get them going
The new
right
platform
away,
is
we're
incredible.
launching a quick
If you're
start
an
program.
Apple developer, this
The
is very
focus of the Quick
big
Start
news.
program is to enable developers
And if you're
to make
not,
their
you should
apps
consider
universal
becoming an
and
Apple
take advantage
developer
of all the
as soon as
capabilities
you
of Apple
can.
Silicon. Developers will have access to documentation and sample code, forums on developer.apple.com, priority DTS support incidents, and access to labs around the world. This program also includes new Developer Transition Kit hardware, so developers can get going even before we ship production systems. The DTK hardware takes the form of a Mac Mini, but one with an A12Z SoC inside. It has desktop specs, including 16 gigabytes of memory, a 512 gig SSD, and a complement of Mac I/O ports. Most significantly, it will include the macOS Big Sur developer beta and Xcode tools. Developers will be able to apply to the program at developer.apple.com today. We will be shipping units out starting this week so you can get to work. So that's how macOS Big Sur is paving the way for a smooth transition to Apple Silicon. This year, we're elevating the Mac to a whole new level, and it's an incredible opportunity for developers. I can't wait to see what you all create, and I can't wait until we can all be together in person again. And now, back to Tim.
Thank you, Craig, and thank you, Johnny. It truly is a historic day for the Mac. Our vision for the Mac has always been about embracing breakthrough innovation and having the courage to make bold changes. Every time we've done this, the Mac has come out stronger and more capable. And I have never been more confident about the future of the Mac than I am today. So what's the timeline for this transition? Well, for developers, it begins this week with the valuable information delivered at this conference, as well as applying for the Quick Start program. And for the customers, we expect to ship our first Mac with Apple Silicon by the end of this year, and we expect the transition to take about 2 years. We plan to continue to support and release new versions of macOS for Intel-based Macs for years to come. In fact, we have some new Intel-based Macs in the pipeline that we're really excited about. What a huge leap forward for the Mac and for Apple. Apple Silicon will bring amazing technologies, industry-leading performance, and a common architecture across all of our products.
Yes, all very
What an
anticipated
incredible
changes.
day of announcements. As you've seen,
So
we haven't
exciting.
stopped innovating. We pushed all of our platforms forward in some amazing new ways. Our OS releases will be available as developer betas today, and each of them will have a public beta, including watchOS for the very first time, starting next month.
That's
And
great.
all of this great software will be available to our customers this fall.
So exciting.
We hope you've enjoyed this very special keynote.
Thank you so much, Tim,
and that
and
you're
thank you
ready
everyone
for
for
the
watching.
big week ahead. With over 100 engineering-led video sessions, one-on-one consultations with Apple engineers, and so much more. We can't wait to start working with all of you and watch you do the best work of your lives. At Apple, we've always joined.
Thank you again so much to everyone who joined the video. I don't know how many people actually saw it because I was switching between different platforms. Actually, this was my first time streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, and VK all at the same time. So I apologize if there was some technical issues, especially with the audio. But just a quick reminder that Black Lives Matter. I heard a lot of people are saying all lives matter. That's not the point of saying Black Lives Matter. Is the fact that there's a lot of senseless violence and police brutality all across the world, not just in North America or across the world. And I want to take this time to kind of raise awareness of this issue. And even in Canada, we're not immune to this problem. Canada was founded on the territory that belonged to indigenous people who were basically killed, and their land was taken away without any kind of feedback from them, right? It was because it was conquered by white people who came to Canada. So as much as I'm happy to live in Canada, we always have to remember the history, and we always have to remember the past and learn from the past so we don't make the same mistakes again. So this was a presentation by Cause. Check out me on social media. There's a link on the stream. Black Lives Matter. This is Cause, signing off. Thank you so much to everyone. Bye.